It's absolutely apptacular. The Subject Cinema Android app. Everything you need to be a rabid Subject Cinema fan. Subject Cinema, 3-Minute Weekend, Tuesday Digidex, and Front Row 5 and 10. All right at your fingertips and available instantly. Plus, email and voicemail links, Facebook and Twitter hookups, Patreon support specials, and more is coming real soon. Don't just listen, app it. The all-in-one Subject Cinema podcast app. Android version available now at Google Play or on PNR Network websites. Amazon and iPhone apps coming soon. Don't delay. Download today.
Blueberry. This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
On air, online, on now. From the hub of the universe, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, this is Subject Cinema, with your hosts, T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome TC and Kim.
Welcome to another week of Subject Cinema. Real movies for real people. I'm TC Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
SD19, episode number 624. It is February 23rd.
Yep.
No, February 24th, 2019. I've been doing that all day. Oscar Day, 2019. Yes. We'll have our Oscar special on Monday the 25th. You want to check that out. We are in the second half of our Festival of Film Festivals for 2019. Last week we did Sundance. This week we're going to do the other three big ones, Palm Springs, Santa Barbara, and Slamdance. And over the next few weeks in March, we'll bring you some other ones as we reintroduce Festival Central as a weekly feature with a different festival every week, and we'll look at some of the films showing at each one. This is going to be fun. Because I have to continue to cough and still have fun. But we're going to start with Palm Springs. Palm Springs ran. The reason we moved this to February, we used to do it the last weekend in January. We moved it to February this year. One, because we were having problems getting the shows done. But two, we realized if we wait till mid-February, we have the winners from all four festivals.
Yes, we do.
So we're going to wait until February to do it every year.
So we're not running around crazy. We've got everything all in one place.
We're going to split it up into two shows every year, one with Sundance and one with the other ones. So if you want to know what we thought was our picks at Sundance and what the winners were, check out last week's show. Palm Springs happened from January 3rd to 14th. It is the first of the big four in January every year. This year, there are two big winners for the audience awards. Have both been picked up by distributors already, which is unusual because Palm Springs does not always get all of their stuff picked up. The audience award for Best Narrative Feature was a film called The Grizzlies, a young people of a remote Arctic town with one of the highest teen suicide rates in the world rediscover their confidence, identity, and community through the age-old sport of lacrosse. Okay. Well, I'm sure it's probably a good film. It's from Canada, directed by Miranda de Pensier, and it sounds. I looked at the the write-up on it on the site. It sounds interesting.
The audience award winner for Best Documentary Feature was The Biggest Little Farm,
which I'm very much waiting to see. It actually won a bunch of awards last fall, too.
Mm-hmm. Idealistic city dwellers John and Molly Chester bought a farm on arid land an hour north of Los Angeles. Their 8-year struggle to turn Apricot Lane Farm into a biodiverse Eden is chronicled in this astonishing and uplifting epic.
I want to see this because I'm a foodie, number one.
Yep.
Number two, I've kind of figured out that an hour north of Los Angeles is probably the area up by Magic Mountain that used to be called Canyon Country, that's now merged into part of Valencia, I think. And it sounds like that area at least. So I want to check that out because Canyon Country is where they shot Only the Young a few years ago, and it also was the home of Wipeout, the TV series on ABC. There were a couple of other films to note before we get to the other winners that did not get prizes, but they both sounded very interesting, and both of them are documentaries, and one of them has been talked about a lot since it premiered, I believe, at Telluride last year. What She Said, The Art of Pauline Kael, a rich and punchy look at the life and career of film critic Pauline Kael, whose passionate movie reviews inspired passionate loyalty in her fans and passionate objections from her foes. She was definitely, you either loved her or you hated her, and she was a formidable woman. And I'm very curious to see this and can't wait till it comes out.
Mm-hmm. Also from Palm Springs was Uncrushable. The directorial debut of celebrated chef Tyler Florence, Uncrushable captures the incredible resilience of numerous residents of Northern California's wine country whose lives were upended by the devastating wildfires that tore through the region in October 2017.
I wasn't even aware Tyler was getting into filmmaking.
No, neither was
Tyler is, of course, hosts Food Network shows galore. Most recently, the Great Food Truck Race, and has always been a favorite around here. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of stories he can show for these people.
Yeah.
The rest of the winners at Palm Springs, going over to their Best of Fest. These were not specific winners; they were just named as the festival's best films by the juries and audiences there. They include, already out in release as of last year, Bathtubs Over Broadway, a documentary about industrial musicals. I wanted to see this when it came out. These are the little, like, albums that companies like GE would make for their employees. Then they were like musical tributes, like Once Upon a Honeymoon.
Yeah.
Or the stuff that we used to watch on Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, Mystery Science Theater 3000 got their hands on a lot of these gems. We'll go with gems.
They're definitely gems of some sort.
They're different. And they would mock the heck out of them because they are exceedingly strange. But that's not a bad thing. They're definitely worth watching, and they definitely hold your attention. So, yeah, it does sound like a interesting sort of a film.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one of the films shown was Becoming Astrid. This lively biopic offers a gorgeous piece of heritage filmmaking as it chronicles a character-forming period in the young life of a Swedish-born writer named Astrid Eriksson. She would go on to worldwide fame as Astrid Lindgren, the creator of beloved children's character Pippi Longstocking. I remember seeing one of those movies when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I used to read those books too. I was always like, why is this character so popular? She's obnoxious.
Because she gets to do all the things that kids don't get to do.
I know.
That's why.
Bethany Hamilton, Unstoppable. Bethany Hamilton lost her left arm to a shark when she was 13 years old, but the attack didn't stop her from becoming a champion surfer, wife and mother, and a role model to millions. This is the inspiring, impressive story of an unstoppable spirit.
Carlos Almaraz, Playing with Fire. This stunning documentary explores the brief, rich, and contradictory life of artist Carlos Almaraz, a Chicano activist, sexual outlaw, and visionary painter of some of the most unforgettable images of Southern California.
That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen and Lola, stunning bride-to-be Carmen and ambitious street artist Lola find themselves in the throes of a secret love, risking safety, status, and their own futures within their highly conservative gypsy community.
Champions is, according to the information on the page, a hilarious and heartfelt spin on the classic underdog tale with central roles performed by intellectually disabled actors. Writer-director Javier Fesser's film is not only Spain's newest box office smash, but a rollicking and unforgettable reminder that none of us is truly normal.
Champions was also a winner at Santa Barbara. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I wouldn't know what being normal was if you hit me over the head with it. Sorry.
Just because it's on here, even though everybody probably already knows what it is. Cold War, currently up for an Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. It's from Pawlikowski, and it's an achingly beautiful portrait of unfolding against the backdrop of the Cold War years in Poland and Berlin, Yugoslavia, and Paris, and it renders believable and complicated, disrupted love in impossible times. Jeffrey Wells of Hollywood Elsewhere is a huge Cold War fan. It has been one of the biggest, most critically acclaimed films, and it's up for cinematography and a couple other things too.
Okay. Dead Pigs might sound like the name of a punk band, but it's not. Well, it might be, but in this case, it's a movie. A mysterious wave of livestock deaths is the groundwork for this award-winning ensemble drama, which combines compassionate explorations of vastly different yet inexorably connected characters with a biting commentary on consumerism and the drive toward modernization in present-day Shanghai.
Dogman. Italian maestro Matteo Garrone returns with a visually astounding and biting morality tale centered on Marcello, a meek dog groomer and small-time drug dealer, and his toxic relationship with a barbaric gangster who terrorizes his desolate coastal town. I would assume that's somewhere in Italy, since it's Italian
I would think so,
maestro.
yeah. El Dorado, asking deeply relevant questions about humanity and social responsibility, Marcus Imhoff draws on his personal experience to show a global phenomenon, the struggle of thousands of refugees fleeing from Africa to Europe, and what happens when they reach their El Dorado.
Of course, that's not the typical El Dorado.
No.
The Etruscan Smile, in need of a medical attention, a crusty macho Scotsman, played by Brian Cox, leaves his beloved Hebridean island home to stay with his estranged son in high-tech San Francisco, where he forms a life-changing bond with his newborn grandson. This got rave reviews from the people at Palm Springs, so it's going to probably be out later this year.
Now, you being a foodie and me being a comfort foodie, Funk, is it Funk or I'm not sure how to pronounce
Funk?
I'm thinking that's pronounced correctly. If I'm wrong, I'm terribly sorry. That grabbed my attention. Gab Tarabulsly's engrossing portrayal of pasta chef and culinary storyteller Evan Funk is a both dramatic look at the fraught lead up to the opening of Funk's Felix Trattoria in Venice, California, and a celebration of the old world techniques used by Funk and his team. Delicious. I'm sorry.
I always love stuff like
I'm
that.
sorry the word pasta and delicious is in this. Yes, color me there.
For Ghost Fleet, next time you order a fillet of exotic fish in a restaurant, spare a thought for the thousands of men enslaved on Indonesian fishing vessels that overfish international waters. One indomitable woman and her small team work to free these slaves and bring them home. This, I think, is a documentary, and it's, I was unaware of this before we saw this, and I'm like, oh wow, is that really a problem?
I really want to see this. It's a film called The Guilty. In the year's most heart-pounding 85 minutes in cinema, a sidelined Danish police officer desperately attempts to thwart an alleged kidnapping and worse, all from the confines of his frustratingly limited emergency call center desk in this ingenious, nail-biting thriller.
Yeah, that sounds like it's up your alley.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so we've got all these films from the Palm Springs International Film Festival. There's a lot more that they did. You can get a full list. We'll have a link to the full site, and so you can go over and check some of their stuff if we can find it. Some of the stuff isn't listed anymore because the festival's already over, which is really weird because they don't normally do that. But in any case, these are some of the ones you're going to be watching for, and we'll keep you up to date on when they're coming out to theaters. Next up, It's the film festival that competes every year at the same time at Park City with Sundance. It is the incredibly, always off-the-wall Slamdance Film Festival.
When Subject Cinema returns.
Real movies for real people. Subject Cinema.
All right, Kristen, I am so excited that you've decided to do a podcast with me, but what are we going to do a podcast about? There's so many other movie podcasts. We got to do something original.
Well, I'm a big fan of Disney movies. What about something like that?
That's just kid stuff. What do we want to do that for?
Did you know that The Avengers is a Disney movie? Or that Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie?
Pulp Fiction is not a Disney movie.
It's technically owned by Miramax, which is part of Disney.
We are still going to talk about the Disney animated movies, though, right?
I thought you said that was kid stuff.
Well, I've got 2 kids. I got to be a good dad and stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the Walt Sent Me podcast, where we discuss the various subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Studios, including the animated movies.
It's available on iTunes, Podomatic, and wherever you find great podcasts. And I swear, it's not kid stuff.
Subject Cinema.
We're deep in our Festival of Film Festivals here on Subject Cinema. Welcome back. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm T.C. Kirkham. It's the 2019 Festival of Film Festivals, Part 2. We did Sundance last week. If you missed it, go to listen to it. This week we're doing the other 3 big ones from January. And we are up to Slamdance. Slamdance happens every year in Park City at the same time as Sundance. You've got these 2 competing shows that are festivals that are completely off the wall.
They're very different.
Some stuff from Slamdance and some stuff from Sundance could cross over on different sections of Sundance, like the Next and the Midnight, but it's not likely to. Again, this year it was January 25th through 31st, and we've got the list of the winners plus a few extras at Slamdance. The narrative feature Grand Jury Prize and the George Stark's Spirit of Slamdance Award went to, I'm sorry, I looked at the description of this, I'm like, are you kidding me? Dollhouse, the eradication of female subjectivity from American popular culture. Directed by Nicole Brending, a puppet animation charting the rise and fall of fictional child pop star Junie Spoons.
Why am I getting Superstar flashbacks?
Superstar? I don't know, because it's supposed to be a comedy, so I don't know.
Superstar was supposed to be... You know which ones I mean.
You're talking about the one with the Saturday Night Live thing based. No.
The other one.
The Karen Carpenter one? That's not supposed to be a comedy.
It was kind of a dark... I mean, it was kind of like...
Todd Haynes did not intend that to be anything but what it was.
Well, but yeah, there was like nervous laughter probably going on in the theater when that... it's just me.
Yeah.
It's just me. Fine, whatever. I know you were sitting there seething, but that... Anyway, the Audience Award for Best Narrative Feature, The Vast of Night. At the dawn of the space race in America, 2 radio-obsessed teens discover a strange frequency over the airwaves that could change their lives, their small town, and all of Earth forever. The cast includes Sierra McCormick, Jake Horowitz, Gail Cronauer, and Bruce Davis.
Yeah. The most popular documentary at Slamdance this year, obviously, because it won both the Jury Prize and the Audience Award for Best Documentary, is Kifaru, from director David Hambridge. With the northern white rhino species on the brink of extinction, 2 ranger recruits are mentored by a seasoned ranger with an unorthodox approach to caring for the last northern white rhino male, Sudan, I think that's his name. Spanning over the course of the recruits' first 4 years on the job, Kifaru allows viewers to experience the joys and pitfalls of conservation firsthand through the lens of the men that look into the eyes of extinction on a daily basis. That cannot be an easy job.
No, it cannot. Definitely not. Audience Award for Beyond Feature went to The Ski Bum, the Warren Miller story, which I know we're going to be there if it premieres around here. Ski Bum, the Warren Miller story chronicles the life and times of the legendary filmmaker who, through his annual ski films and national tours, which began in the early 1950s, was a driving force in the development and promotion of the ski industry in America and throughout the world.
I'm not necessarily saying we won't go see it, but Miller's stuff is a acquired taste, and I've never really acquired it. I love the footage, but he never brings in any of the people that I know that I like that are part of the ski and snowboarding community. So a lot of these people I don't know. A lot of them are more competitive, like the moguls type people and stuff, as opposed to the extreme. So I don't really know them, but I mean, he is definitely a pioneer in that.
Oh, yeah.
The Slamdance Acting Award this year went to a young man named Siabanga Majola, who basically plays himself in the film We Are Thankful. It's a South African docu-fiction. Young man from the township he lives in, I can't pronounce it, one day hears that a movie will be made in a nearby town and makes it his mission to be a part of the film. It's a film based partly on real events reenacted by those who lived through them, and we follow this extraordinary man as he does all he can to take control of his fortune. Didn't we have that sort of happen last year? It was called the 1516 to Paris.
Yeah.
That one wasn't very good according to everybody that saw it. So
No.
Be careful what you're doing here.
Yep.
Obviously, you must have done well with this because they got awards from it. So those are the big winners at Slamdance. We've got a few other ones there that we've been looking at. Slamdance doesn't have a lot. They have about maybe a 10th or an 8th of what Sundance has every year. So there's a lot less to have to go through.
That's true.
And also, that means there's a lot more to profile because they don't bring crap in.
No, that's also
So, go ahead. Let's talk about some of these that sound interesting.
Okay. Also on the list of things from Slamdance that caught our interest were a great lamp from the United States. On the river towns of North Carolina's two sad vandals and an unemployed loner wait for a fabled rocket launch.
I'm like, sad vandals. What does that even mean?
I don't know what that. Maybe they're like vandalizing places that are already broken down. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's an odd way to. It's an odd wording. You know.
Major co-production for a film called Crystal Swan from Belarus, the USA, Germany, and Russia. In mid-90s Belarus, a young DJ's overseas plans get derailed when a typo on her visa application sends her to a backwater factory town, where she determines to fake her way to the American dream. It's okay.
Hurry Slowly is a film from Norway that follows Fiona over a few life-changing months in the summertime in the northwestern coast of Norway, where she has to juggle the care of her brother, her job at the local ferry, and her interest in music.
Impetus from Canada. In the process of her ongoing film shoot in New York City, a filmmaker finds herself questioning the origin of impulsion. As she tries to overcome loss through creation, an unexpected event enlightens her journey. What is impulsion?
I don't know. Not really
I'm
sure.
not even sure what that means. Does it mean, like, is it as a form of
Impulsive
impulsive
behavior? I don't know.
know.
Obsessive impulsive behavior? I don't know.
It could be anything.
You got me. Last Holiday is a film from the United States. Two old high school friends solve a Christmas mystery in D.C.
I thought that sounded up your alley. Spiral Farm, when two outsiders arrive at an isolated intentional community. Intentional community? Is that like the experimental city? 17-year-old Anita begins to question her role at home and what a future out in the world at large could be. It's an isolated intentional community. I'm not even sure what that
Maybe
is.
somebody meant to type international and mistyped it.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know.
In the documentary features from Slamdance, Behind the Bullet is a United States documentary, an in-depth look at four individuals who have pulled the trigger and the profound impact it's had on their lives.
The Bakinskis, a sound and picture album, a famous Polish painter known for his dark and twisted imagery, chronicles his son's troubled life from the 1950s through the millennium.
Desolation Center, also from the United States, the untold story of a series of Reagan-era anarchic punk rock desert happenings that still reverberate throughout our culture.
I think that sounds interesting. Dawns of Disco, also from the USA, a lip-syncing scandal pits an American singer against an Italian male model over the legacies of 1980s Italo disco star Den Harrow. I'm not familiar with this person.
I figured if you don't know who this person is, that's saying something. The Professional, a Stevie Blatz story from the United States, a behind-the-scenes look at the magic of Stevie Blatz, an entertainment entrepreneur in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Stevie, that movie actually made its premiere at Toronto, so and it got great reviews up there. In their breakout features, which always have some interesting off-the-wall stuff, Beats from the UK, a universal story of friendship, rebellion, and the irresistible power of gathered youth, set to a soundtrack as eclectic and electrifying as the scene it gave birth to. Beats is a story for our time.
From Japan comes Demolition Girl. A high school girl who lives in a rural town in Japan struggles to define her own way of life. To help her impoverished family, she works as a video fetish performer, which leads to problems for her and her family with a criminal underworld.
Another one that sounds up your alley.
Yeah.
Happy Face from Canada. Desperate to become less shallow, a handsome teenage boy deforms his face with bandages and attends a support group for disfigured people.
Okay, so now being too attractive is considered a problem?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I wish I had that problem. History of Love is a joint production between Slovenia, Italy, and Norway. A teenage swimmer / high driver, Iva, endures a grieving process as family secrets and mysteries, especially her mother's, unveil.
I have to admit that one has my attention because of the presence of Christopher Jonah, who is the star of the Wave and the Quake, and I'm a big fan. So those are some of the interesting things floating around Slamdance this year. I wanted to see Happy Face almost from the second I saw the poster. But what about the rest of these that we popped in there that we've picked as our picks? Do you really?
I really want to see Demolition Girl, and that one really speaks to me for some reason. So does, as you mentioned, Lost Holidays got my interest. The word mystery instantly, I'm like, ding.
Yeah.
That's Hurry Slowly kind of has my attention. And so does Crystal Swan.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm interested in the Warren Miller film because Patrick Creedon is the director, and he's done some great documentaries in the past. And but Dollhouse, I'm completely curious as hell as to what this is going to be. I mean, okay. We also need to point out with a grain of salt, Slamdance is a very critically acclaimed festival. Unfortunately, about half of their winners don't find distribution deals. You need to find them online when you can. Sometimes they'll be up there where you can order them on Vimeo or on YouTube Premium, or may make them now to more contemporary stations that take that stuff like Hulu, Crackle, and a number of other ones. So you want to keep an eye out for that stuff. And of course, we'll advise you when and if any of these become available for you to see. We have one more to go of the big three, and we're going to talk about it next.
When Subject Cinema returns.
Blockbuster or bomb, it's all good for us. This is Subject Cinema.
eCinemaOne is your choice for great info and commentary about the world of film and entertainment. Daily trailer postings, the latest news and film reviews, commentary about the state of the industry, the weekly Subject Cinema and 3-minute weekend podcast, and so much more you won't believe it. New material is being posted daily, so join us each day and see what you're missing out on. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaOne from PNRNetworks, eCinemaOne.com.
Subject Cinema.
Welcome back to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema number 624, the Festival of Film Festivals 2019 Part 2. We've hit Palm Springs and Slamdance. Let's head to Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara has a lot of titles every year. This year, their site has been unwieldy as hell. They have only the titles listed, so what we've decided to do this year only is to just outline all of the winners that they have, and I will go back through in the next couple of weeks, and we'll feature some more of their films on our Festival Central segment. But it's going to be interesting. The winners over there, you want to give it a start here?
Sure. The Audience Choice winner and Valhalla Award for Best Nordic Film was In Love and War. When Ebsen flees the trenches of World War I after 3 years at the front, it's so he can return to his beloved wife Christine and son Karl. But everything at home has changed. A charming German officer, Gerhard, has done everything he can to win Christine's heart and replace Ebsen's role as Karl's father. As Ebsen's family tries to adjust to his return from the front, the bonds of love and loyalty are stretched to the breaking point in this taut and profoundly moving film. From his hideout, Ebsen becomes a witness to a horrific nightmare watching his family slowly disappear in front of him as he fights for their love and survival he tries desperately to save his family. In Love and War is an epic romantic drama based on a true story. Wow, that sounds really intense.
Right up your alley, maybe? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, yeah.
For best
Which is weird because I don't usually go in for war films. I mean, it's after the war, but...
Yeah. Best documentary at Santa Barbara went to Quiet Storm, the Ron Artest story. In the world of professional sports, no star athlete has ever come back from a mental health disorder until Ron Artest. With his selfless public revelation following his title-clinching shot in the 2010 NBA championship, Artest opened the doors wide open for mental health awareness. Critics were going crazy about this, and sports critics were going nuts about it, too, when it premiered in Santa Barbara.
I think it's extremely brave that he was able to do that, because for so long, mental health issues have had an enormous stigma attached to them. It's an even larger stigma for men, and it's an even larger stigma for male athletes.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's really, really brave of him to come forward like that.
Yep.
And other people have done so since. People like actor Jared Padalecki, Olympic medal, multi-medal winner Michael Phelps. I think that's really amazing. And I think maybe Ron helped to open that door, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, the best international film was With the Wind, La Vent Tourne. I was unable to find any information about this, but it did get a lot of people obviously talking because it did win Best International Film.
The Panavision Spirit Award for Independent Cinema, that's a mouthful, went to Baby Splitters. When two couples with mixed feelings about having kids hatch a plan to share one baby, it seems like the perfect compromise until things spiral out of control.
Sharing a baby.
I'm sorry. Anybody having Sunday school flashbacks to the whole King Solomon story from the Bible and the two women that said, "This is my kid," you know, and he was all like, "Well, I've got a solution," and all that. That didn't work out too well either.
The Nueva Vision Award for Spain and Latin American cinema went to Journey to a Mother's Room. A daughter leaves home for the first time. Her mother left behind doesn't know how to fill the empty nest. Big hit overseas late last year.
The ADL Stand-Up Award went to Champions, Campeones, Campeones in Spanish, which we've mentioned. It was a winner at Palm Springs, so I don't think we need to read that again because you remember it. You're a smart
the Social
budge.
Justice Award for Documentary Film went to Lila at the Bridge. Lila Haidari survived child marriage and her own traumatic past to battle one of the deadliest problems in Afghanistan, heroin addiction. As the mother of the addicts, she must prevail over a crisis of addiction and a corrupt government in a country on the verge of collapse.
3 awards were given out for short films. The Bruce Corwin Award for Best Live Action Short Film went to Christopher Wallabeck's My Brother Amal. The Bruce Corwin Award for Best Animated Short Film went to Rachel Johnson's Henrietta Bulkowski. And the Best Documentary Short Film was awarded to Leslie Iwerk's Selling Lies.
So those are the winners from Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara, by the way, because I didn't mention it a second ago, took place January 30th to February 9th. And it is in Santa Barbara is about 90 miles northeast of Los Angeles. And they have this every year. There are a ton of other titles over there that I'm going to do some research on, and we'll get more for you in the weeks ahead. There is a big consternation now going on because at the end of the festival, Santa Barbara made a huge announcement because there are some extenuating circumstances next year. For the first time in history, it will actually run before and during the first 3 days of the Sundance Film Festival. They've never done that before. Palm Springs, Sundance and Slamdance, and Santa Barbara in that order. This year it's Palm Springs, Santa Barbara, then Sundance and Slamdance next year. The reason for this is that the Academy Awards have been moved up to the last Sunday in January next year. Oh. So there are all kinds of big things going on, and Santa Barbara wants to accommodate everything, but they don't. I got the impression this is a one-time only thing from them, from the press release they put out, that next year. They've done that here in Boston. In the Boston area, we're coming up upon March, and we're coming up to the Boston Springs the Festival season, which we will have a complete show for you in mid-May about. But the first festival's already happened, the Science Fiction Festival, and then we're going to have 8 more or 9 more in the next 8 weeks coming up, and they've moved things around. Salem used to be the first. Salem Film Fest used to be the first of the big 8. The Sci-Fi Festival is always out of the way because it's always President's Day week.
Yes.
And because they end on President's Day weekend with the Thon. Salem, it used to be until this year, it was always the first week usually in March. This year, and I think last year too, it moved to the end of the month. So yeah, it did, because we missed Underground because of it last year.
Yeah.
Salem has moved to the end of the month. It's actually running into the first couple of days of April, which they've never been that late before. They also dropped opening day back a day from Thursday to Friday. So we're seeing all kinds of changes. It's going to run smack into the Boston Wicked Queer, the Boston LGBTQ Film Festival. It's a weekend after Boston Underground. Boston Irish has also announced they're not having the full festival this year. They're going to do a feature presentation for one night only. They're taking the year off to concentrate on their 20th anniversary next year. So the Boston Film Festival scene this spring is going to be a little bit different than what we're used to also. So Santa Barbara's not alone.
Nope.
Speaking of that, we are coming up on March, and I think we're going to tell you a little bit about what we got planned for March in our next segment, so stick around.
Subject Cinema, we'll be right back.
There's a lot of movie talk happening here. This is Subject Cinema.
eCinemaBoston is your best choice for all the latest news and info about happenings in the world of film here in the hub of the universe. Local theater listings, ticketing info, reviews of local venues, spotlight on Boston actors, the latest film shoots, and a whole lot more. If you're in the Metro Boston area, you need eCinemaBoston from PNRNetworks. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaBoston.com.
The best movies! Subject Cinema!
Ah, yes. March is almost on us.
Yes.
And in basketball terms, it's always called March Madness.
Yes.
That's upcoming. But those of you who have listened to Subject Cinema for over the years have come to know March as something entirely different.
Yes.
That is the month when TC and Kim give all their soul to you. We put up with it so you don't have to, although we would prefer you do.
Or at least suffer along with us.
It is time, once again, starting next week, for Masochistic March.
Yes. March is also traditionally the month of the kickoff of Lent for Catholics.
Yeah. So and the kickoff of the Boston Springs the Festival.
So it's for Catholics, it's a time of penance and a time of,
Oh, that's why we started it in March.
Yes.
Okay.
And boy, are we going to be given penance this year.
This year.
Wow, I don't know what we did to do this to ourselves.
Masochistic March this year will present sucky superheroes.
They're not those kind of movies. Settle down.
Huh?
They're not those kind of movies. Settle down.
We have decided on the 5 films. They're all available, and if they're not available on Netflix or Amazon or on DVD, they're available on YouTube.
So the quality of some of them we can't attest to because they're on YouTube. So there's that.
I'm not sure what order we're going to do them in yet, but we will be tackling the following 5 films. The film known as The Indian Superman, Three Dev Adam, which is Santos and Captain America versus Spider-Man.
It's a Turkish film starring Mexican star El Santo, American superhero Captain America going against an evil version of Spider-Man. Good grief, this is already hurting my head.
Yeah. Wow. We will also tackle Wonder Woman, the 1974 television pilot with Kathy Lee Crosby. We've reviewed that once before. We're going to have to sit through it again.
Oh, man.
And two films we've been dreading that we've never seen, and now we're going to have to. Mm-hmm. Catwoman, starring Halle Berry, and Fantastic Four with Miles Teller, Jamie Bell, Michael B. Jordan, and I'm going to be in so much pain from this movie.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
I really
wanted to do the Corman version, but it's not that easy to find.
I really had such high hopes for Fantastic Four. I was like, they might actually
I
be
didn't
able
have
to
a
do
problem
it
with
this
the
time.
ones they did in the mid-2000s. They weren't the first one we didn't see, but Rise of the Silver Surfer was fine.
No, I liked it fine.
Except Galactus. You can't make Galactus into a giant walking person. It just doesn't work in film, and everybody was having a fit about that. I'm like, well... The giant cloud didn't work either.
Yeah, like newsflash, that didn't work. Yeah. I don't agree with you about Galactus, but that's just my own thing.
I
so
know.
Whatever.
Anyway,
we're also going to be. We might have a couple of little special add-ons in there as well.
We're planning to do 2 documentaries as special features, both of which talk about films that are bad superhero films.
Yes, that never happened.
Well, one of them did, one of them didn't.
One of them did happen and has never seen the light of day, and one of them didn't happen, and for that, everybody should thank whichever deity you pray to.
The one that didn't see the light of day but did get made and did see the light of day in bootlegs all over the world. Doomed, the untold story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four.
And the other one is The Death of Superman Lives. What happened?
Is we could say that he needs to stay dead.
Oh, that's not nice.
Well, you and I were looking this over.
Yeah.
This would have been a disaster of immense proportions.
This would have done...
That could have possibly killed off any superhero movie for at least 20 years.
This would have...
No matter what
if they'd actually done this would have done to the superhero mythos what Batman and Robin did to the Batman mythos. So, that should just pretty much sum it all up.
It was already done by Batman Forever before Batman and Robin came along.
We're never going to agree on this.
No, we're not, but most people agree with me. Watch Mojo and all these other groups
Most
online.
people agree with you about...
Pick mine as Batman and Robin being better than Batman Return Forever.
No, they don't. They pick the fact that they think that George Clooney is a better
Batman. The
Batman.
guy even put it above Batman Forever. You're just wrong, okay? Hey, you wanted to see Batman Ninja. I had to sit through that forever.
I'm sorry, the artwork looked amazing, and I still stand by the artwork is amazing. The story is complete.
The artwork is good, yeah.
The story is complete WTF, but the artwork was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing for Masochistic March. I mean, the stuff we do for you guys, honest to blog.
We enjoy this, though. We've done so much. I mean, we've survived some really crappy stuff.
We have endured Birdemic 2, The Room.
There's nothing wrong with Birdemic and The Room. They're classic, so bad it's good films. Birdemic 2, you can't say that about. Birdemic 2 is just so bad it's awful. And you can't say that. I mean, we've sat through...
We sat through Grease 2, for crying out loud.
And The Apple.
We've sat through The Swarm. All of these terrible movies.
Bad Kung Fu movies. Bad Star Wars ripoffs.
Star Crash.
I'd rather watch Star Crash than a couple of those other ones.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Those other ones were
but as we
terrible.
always say every year when Masochistic March rolls around, what do we say? If we have to suffer, you have to suffer.
So suffer along with us on Masochistic March starting next Sunday with... I don't know which one we'll start with, but one of these 5. These are the 5 we decided on.
Yep.
Took us 2 or 3 weeks, so there's a lot of bad superhero
stuff. There's a lot of bad superhero
We threw a lot of stuff out. We decided not to do anything that was misseed or riff tracks in a major way, like Puma Man, it's too well known.
Supersonic Man, that stuff.
We went for stuff that we've heard about that were terrible, that we wanted to see and see if we could tolerate. 3 Dead Adam and Turkish Superman. We've seen Wonder Woman. We talked about it, but it definitely qualifies. And The other two we haven't seen and probably will regret seeing.
Yes.
So, especially Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So, because I can't understand how Jamie Bell and Michael B. Jordan got mixed up in such a crappy movie, and why Miles Teller is playing Reed Richards. That's just terrible casting. But he's terrible casting in anything. That's just me. We've also got some other stuff going on. Mm-hmm. In addition to all the usual stuff we're going to talk about, our brand new website went online this week. PNRNetworks.com is now your source for everything PNR Networks. You can go over to PNRNetworks.com, link up with all of our websites, all of our podcasts, and everything else. It'll give you a playlist and everything. Check out what we say about that. Join our Patreon. Check out everything else we got going on. PNRNetworks.com. We still have the basic sites as well. eCinemaOne.com, all the stuff we talk about here in the home of Subject Cinema and all of our podcasts. eCinemaBoston, our Boston-centric site. We also have a number of other sites out there that are all linked from the website that you can check out in our show notes and get over there as well. We also got back on the air this week with Front Row 5 and 10.
Yep.
I'm so glad we are back on the air.
Yes, we are. Front Row 5 and 10 is our count-up show, our list show. What kind of list? Well, that depends on the topic. We have lists about movies and TV shows and songs and food and books and everything else in between. All kinds of lists, and we would love to take lists from you.
If you send us a list in at frontrow@pnrnetworks.com and we use it, you get your name on the site, you get your name on the show, and you get a prize.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
No, I don't think so.
Front Row 5 and 10, available Thursdays. Once again, it was Friday this week, but Thursdays, once again, beginning this week.
Yes. We have our single shows that we do as well.
Single shows? We don't do shows like that.
No, not those kind of... No, not that...
What do you think we are? Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice? We don't do swinging single shows.
And for those of you who don't know what that term means...
Oh, that hurt. Thank you.
It's going to hurt worse in a second. Ask your grandparents.
Ooh, I'm dying.
I have two shows that I record by myself, and those would include Platinum Rose's Garden, which is my Supernatural podcast, where I talk about the week's episode of the CW show Supernatural, and I hope you come check that out over at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. I also have Ring Around the Rosie, which is my wrestling podcast at RingAroundTheRosie.net, where I wax about whatever is going on in the wrestling world that happens to catch my attention, or talk about, a specific topic or anything like that. I would like to stress, neither of these shows are safe for work. They are really, really sweary.
Kim is great, though, at her wrestling stuff. She's been a fan for 30-plus years and really putting it on for you guys, so definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. You can check out my shows as well, Catastrophe Vortex, CatastropheVortex.com, when it eventually gets back on the air. Hopefully this week. We will start with the Tyrant Inferno, and it's going to be I've changed up the format. I hope you'll check it out. Also, on my mini shows each week, 3-Minute Weekend on Friday with all the latest movie releases in the U.S., and Tuesday Digidex on Tuesday, all the latest home video releases in the U.S. Those take about 5 minutes to listen to every week, and we hope you'll check those out. Kirkham Report is currently on hiatus. I'm redoing the website. It'll be back in early March with more videos, more fun. I'm working on music quizzes now. I've gotten hooked on these YouTube music quizzes. I can do these better than they can. They use all the same songs all the time. I can blow people's minds. We'll have some of those. We'll have the usual countdown stuff, the weekly charts, and more at thekirkhamreport.com when it comes back in early March.
I have a Patreon show that if you are interested in, you can subscribe to that for $5.
You get 3 brand new shows every month. The 3 brand new shows, you probably get them twice a month on Patreon if you are a subscriber and a supporter and a patron for $5 or more a month. Kaiju Corner with Kim is all about kaiju.
Yes.
She talks about all kinds of things, and believe me, again, like the wrestling, she's a 30-plus year fan of kaiju.
Yeah, I've been a fan of monster films since I was probably too small to be watching them unattended. But seriously.
Well, it's not like you were 5 years old and sent to the theater to see Night of the living dead.
No,
like
which I still
were.
can't believe that actually happened, but it did. I don't think 5-year-olds, but at least people who
8
were
or
way
9-year-olds,
too damn young
yeah.
to see that movie.
Well, the people went in there expecting your usual B-movie slop.
If you saw that trailer, would you have sent a 9-year-old unattended to that movie?
Parents didn't see the trailer. That was back when parents dropped their kids off at the theater and they were safe.
I guess.
Not now.
Anyway.
Back then.
So I have developed a love of kaiju films over the years, and mostly I'm talking about the Japanese films, the Godzillas, the Gameras, stuff like that. But I am going to branch out and talk about giant monster movies from all over the world of varying degrees of quality.
That's her way of saying Reptilicus is coming eventually.
That's a heads up. They're not all going to be winners. But please come check out Kaiju Corner. And actually, if you'd like to talk to me on the interwebs, if that's your deal, you can write to me at platinumroselle@yahoo.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at platinumroselle@twitter.com.
Don't forget our other 2 shows that are coming to Patreon, too. Subject Cinema's Freeze Frame, which is going to be us discussing the latest stories and stuff in Hollywood and the latest controversies. We've just been trying to get our schedules square. We should be able to do it this week finally, and we'll get it up and running on Patreon. And also, Subject Cinema's Microfocus will return as a Patreon show this week. We're going to delve into the 1974 science fiction film Zardoz with Sean Connery, which we just saw a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
And also, last fall's well-received sequel, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. Those will be on our first return Microfocus. And you get Kaiju Corner, Microfocus, and Freeze Frame for a mere $5 a month on Patreon.
Yep.
A lot of other Patreons make you pay $10, $15, $20 a month to get the shows. We don't care about that. We want you to be a part of it. Patreon is how we pay for things. We don't take ads. We don't want to have to start taking ads. We're gonna have a swag shop in the next few weeks, but that's not an ad. And it's $5 a month. You won't even miss it. That works out to something like probably 30 cents a day, 40 cents a day. Just put us on your PayPal and let it go. It's really simple. And it helps us out. We got a lot of great stuff we'd love to be able to do, but we can't without your help. And we're doing these new shows as a reward for those of you who want to come on board. Don't miss them, because you hear the kind of crazy stuff we do on this show, and you're not going to get these other shows if you don't, come on board as a patron. You're going to miss all kinds of cool stuff, especially Kim's Kaiju show. So don't do that. Come on board. Join us. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks. You can start donating at $2. The shows arrive at $5. There's great perks all the way up the list, and we hope you will join us, please. Now, this week is Oscar week, so on Monday, day and date, February 25th, we will be here with our annual Oscar wrap-up show. We will give you the winners of Saturday's Independent Spirit Awards, Saturday's Golden Raspberries Award. Why is it raspberries?
I don't know.
There's a P. Well, why is there a P in raspberry? Raspberry. It's a raspberry, not a raspberry.
I don't know. Why don't you go right to the people in Arkansas and ask them? I would also like to just get it out there. I am not insulting people from the lovely state of Arkansas, but you people spell your state and say it very oddly.
And besides, it's just the Razzies I'm talking about. And of course, the Oscars. There's all kinds of... This is one of the first years in a long time where the Oscars are really up in the air. Nobody knows who's going to win. Although I am going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to be honest, just reading through over the last week or so, people have had up, confidential Oscar ballots from people who are willing to give them to their sources under anonymity, to Variety and Hollywood Reporter and Hollywood Elsewhere and Deadline. And I honestly can say with pretty good certainty, anyone expecting Netflix to get a Best Picture win tonight can kiss that picture goodbye. Roma is not going to win Best Picture. Best Foreign Film, possibly. Best Picture, no shot. I honestly believe that.
Okay.
So that's just my prediction. Because let's face it, if Roma wins Best Picture, it's the end of cinema as we know it. That it will be the end of cinema. So, and it shouldn't be up for an Oscar anyway. It should be competing for Emmys, because Netflix is a television network. or a streaming network that shows on your television, not in theaters. So, Emmys, I agree with Spielberg, I agree with Christopher Nolan. Netflix movies should not be eligible for Oscars. Which sucks, but, because there's good stuff on there, but that's just how I feel. What do we got going on besides all this stuff? We've been talking about all this stuff. We will be, bringing you all the coverage of the Boston Springs of Festival stuff as we get into May. I mentioned most of them already. There's also the Boston International Festival, Boston Turkish Film Festival, the Global Cinema Festival of Boston, which started a couple years ago that we were only made aware of last year, and rounding it out at the end, the Independent Film Festival Boston. I'm really hoping that we get some really good titles this year at IFFB and at Underground. I'm looking for one particular film. So, guys over at Underground, and I've already talked or tried to talk to a couple people at IFFB. I'm looking for the feature film version of a short film that premiered at Sundance last year, 2018. Feature film is called Worm, W-Y-R-M. And I want to see this at one of our festivals. It doesn't have to be a world premiere. I'd love it to be a world premiere. IFFB gets slagged on by Movie Maker magazine and Filmmaker magazine because they don't ever get a big world premiere. And I wrote to them and I said, bring this in as a world premiere and I'll even try to find a way to help sponsor it. Because it stars Theo Taplitz. I want this to be our big movie.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So please bring it to Boston somehow. Boston International or IFFB, Underground. I don't care. Just bring it to Boston.
Yep. Because Theo Taplitz is a great young actor who needs to have his works spotlighted so people can notice how amazing he is. Yeah. And we can say we knew him.
It scares me that this kid is already a writer, a director, a photographer, a cinematographer, a score writer, a musician.
Yeah.
And he's not even 17 yet.
And he's really
scares the hell out of me.
And the nauseating thing is he's really good at all of it. It makes me sick.
Oh my God, some of the films he did when he was 12
and I mean that in the nicest
hilarious.
Possible way. Bless your heart.
And if you haven't seen him in Little Men, it was a terrific performance that won my Best Actor award that year. He was just awesome.
Absolutely.
Anyway, don't forget to check out my stuff also. I'm on Twitter at eCinemaBoston and eCinemaOne, TKR Online for Kirkham Report stuff, and, of course, we are always here for you every week, and we hope you'll continue to listen. Until next time. For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
TTFN.
Bye now.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema theme performed by Eric Lyon. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2018 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.